All right. Hey, there they are. Good to have you tonight. I'm Bill Boshears. This is the Scizone. Thank you for joining us. We've been waiting on you here. Let me get some things out of the way here. First things first. My guest, Larry Nichols, will be calling in here. There, I think that's him. This week, we got tickets for you for the Showcase Cinema, not Showcase, I'm sorry, the AMC in Newport on the Levee, Newport, Kentucky. It's called Death Race. You may have seen the promotions for it. It proves to be an exciting movie by Universal. I don't know how they do death races. This is in the future, of course, but this is a part of it, and you'll definitely want to be into it. Join me. If you'll go to WBQC, register, and you can win tickets. We got them, and join me. We'll be there. Tonight, because of some of the stuff that he does, he's on with me tonight for a few minutes anyway. Larry Nichols, thank you for joining me, sir. I'm doing better, and if it gets any better, I'm going to have to take a pill just to calm down. Larry, I know that you started a new radio series on the internet.
Have indeed.
And you, last Friday, covered a topic. And by the way, I'll tell you how to get there. If you want to listen every day, what time is it? 12 o'clock Central?
It's 12 to 2 Eastern.
Okay.
11 to 1 Central, and about 15 minutes after every program, it's archived, so you can go anytime.
Oh, okay. So you go there and pick it up. Anyway, go to LarryNichols.com and click on Listen Live. Great show. You're going to, and I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. You're going to run into more information than you expect to get. And I've watched the comments come in. People say things like, I've learned more here in the past 30 minutes than in the past 5 minutes I've learned all week watching television. It's a good place to go get information, and you'll get things beyond, like what I wanted to bring out tonight. Larry, you pointed out something years and years and years ago when we first met. We talked about, and we've been through the gamut of all that, and the people who know you know that. Larry, you made mention of 4 laws that we're going to have to deal with.
Well, actually, Bill, now, folks, if you'll go to yesterday's program on the archives, you'll hear the whole story. But basically what I'm talking about, Bill, is the oil companies need to pick up the tab.
Yes.
On 4 major things. Now, y'all, Bill and I did a DVD, Systematic Destruction of America. We did that nearly 2 years ago. And we told why we went in to Iraq. Withstanding that, the oil companies need to pick up the tab.
Yes.
First off, one tab is that as you see Russia invading Georgia, well, Bush says to the global community, well, in the 21st century, you cannot invade a sovereign nation. Now, because the oil companies wanted the oil in Iraq,
that's why we went.
We have nothing to stand on. We violated the Oslo Accords, which is the accord that we drafted, that we had nations sign, that said no nation can invade another nation without it posing immediate threat. And of course, Hussein didn't pose us any threat.
And we know how big those weapons of mass destruction were.
Yeah. So now you've got a situation, thanks to the oil companies, thanks to Bush trying to help the oil companies, we have no standing. So when we say to Russia, you can't invade Georgia, Russia and the rest of the world's going to say, Bill, well, you did. You invaded Iraq. Why can't we? So now our legs are knocked plumb out from under us. The second thing that the second tab that the oil companies should be picking up for us. We have proven in Iraq, to some degree in Afghanistan, certainly with the Israeli-Hezbollah war, our big commitment to smart weapons. Guess what, folks? They don't work against low tech, because all the enemy's got to do is just homogenize himself into the homes of civilians, and we can't touch them.
Can't touch, you can't find them.
And then what he proved, the oil companies, and they need to pick up the tab on this, because this one's hurting us globally. Going into Iraq, we have proven to the world, Bill, that we don't have an army. You know, we keep sending, if you take Iraq and Afghanistan, 200,000. We can't keep 200,000 on the line with fresh troops. They're having to go back for second, third, fourth, and fifth tours. So now the third thing that they need to pick up the tab for, and folks, this is the hard one, over 4,000 of our best young men and young women dead. 30,000 wounded, half that number wounded horribly.
Larry, and the problem with all of this that everybody seems to be missing is that all of this was formulated on a lie. We went to war with no weapons of mass destruction, a forged document about yellow cake. I'm going to get into that later on. And there was absolutely nothing to support Saddam Hussein having any kinds of weapons of mass anything.
Well, you know, he had chemical weapons.
But he'd already used them up.
Well, he had used them on the Kurds. But, you know, Bill, let's go to the fourth one.
Okay.
Now remember the third one. Somebody needs to pick up the tab for all these dead and wounded. Not to mention the ones coming home that are not wounded, but they'll never be the same the rest of their lives. Now the fourth one. You see, thanks to the oil companies, thanks to Bush proving that we invaded a sovereign nation, so we have no leg to stand on, thanks to Bush proving that we have no army, well, now you got Georgia. And now, folks, you don't understand what Georgia means. Russia went in, invaded Georgia. Don't matter why, don't bother me, I don't know nobody in Georgia. But the point to the matter is, thanks to our oil companies, thanks to Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld and the crew, now you've got Europe. You've got all these nations over there saying, wait a minute. America was going to back Georgia. And we can't, and Russia knows it. And now you can look at Europe. Europe's sitting there saying, well, what if Russia invades us? Will America do the same for us? How can it defend us? And it can't. And so, folks, what you see is a whole new paradigm globally. But the world's going to change.
It's going to change without a doubt, and it's already started. Larry, I want to thank you for being here, but you have just started the ball rolling and connecting the dots. Folks, that's what Nichols does every day on his show. Go on your computer. If you're at work, just dial it up, LarryNichols.com, click on Listen Live, and you're there. It's this kind of information that's there. Go ahead, Larry.
You'll get, when you go to LarryNichols.com, you'll get Enter Here, click that. Then you go to the second page and go to the bottom of it and says Listen Live or to the archives. And, folks, you can go get the archives. But I would suggest, hey, it ain't about me. It's about critical thinking, Bill.
It is.
You know, you ought to be able to work this stuff out in your head. You know, one thing that I do want to say before I leave, most people don't understand Condoleezza Rice. You see, she came from Stanford. And y'all not going to believe it, that she is the foremost authority on Russia. She knows their history. She knows how to speak Russian. Supposedly, she knows their culture. Now, how could we, Bill, have Condoleezza Rice, the foremost person on apparently in our government, on Russia, and then have George Bush sitting with Vladimir Putin at the Olympics? I mean, sitting side by side, just having a big old time. And then Bush and Putin left there. Bush came back here, and Putin went to the front at Georgia. So now, Bill, I got to ask you, what is it about Condoleezza Rice? How could she not know what I know? Now, difference being, folks, because I'm short on time, but I'll tell you, she don't think Russian. I do.
She doesn't. She really doesn't know. She may be able to speak it, but she doesn't know it. Larry, thank you.
All right, my friend.
You take care. Stay safe, my buddy. I'll talk to you later.
All right, y'all.
Take care.
See ya.
His, I'll do it this way. His website is LarryNichols.com. It's an amazing, the insight that the man has is unbelievable. We'll take a pause in the action and come right back with your phone calls. I got more stuff tonight than I got time for, but we'll try to get to all of it right here in the Scizone. Thank you. Back in the Scizone, 381-3838. I got to tell you that there is a semblance of what we're doing here tonight in connecting the dots. And I went back into the archives of my videotapes and so forth today, and I pulled up an audio tape. I'm going to play that for you in a minute. Let's go to Mink's on the line. Mink, you're on the air.
How you doing, Bill?
Doing well, sir. Glad to have you
And I
aboard.
love to hear from Larry every time, and I've seen one of the videos or the DVDs.
Oh, what do you think of it?
Good one. And he's a real informative guy, and it was a good job.
He's got his stuff together. Now, that's no question about that. He knows what he's talking about.
I believe it.
And he's got his information is just over the horizon of CNBC, MSNBC, all the alphabet agencies.
Well, he's got it before they do.
Yes.
How about that?
That's the best part of the whole thing.
You got it.
And anyway, I'm just proud to have him anytime I can get him.
Absolutely. And we'd like to hear more of him, and tell him I said that.
I will for sure.
Hey, I'm doing this on purpose today. It's the 31st Elvis week.
This is Elvis weekend.
Yes. And so I thought I'd do it today. It's August 16, 2008.
Okay.
I'm announcing on your show. I'm not running yet, but I'm going to do something else.
Okay.
Anybody wants to go to this website, and we started a new online news company.
Okay.
It's called Sharon, SHARON .press, PRESS, @yahoo.com.
Okay.
Now, you get free text on that, all right? If you want a DVD, they're available. Here's the 2 DVDs available now. One of them is Rob Portman and the Shadow Government. The other one is Virgil Lovett and the KGB. So it fit right in with Larry, and no one's ever seen these yet.
Okay.
This will start on Monday. They can start emailing.
Are you going to have audio, video? What are you going to have?
No. What we're going to do right now is the text will be available on that Sharon .press @yahoo.com.
All right. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
so that's the freebie. The
We
DVD.
put it up on the screen for you.
And I do appreciate it. I'm in the other room because I'm taping it as we speak. I love your shows, and I've told everybody about Scizone at WQBC.com. You probably got a lot of new listeners tonight.
WBQC, that's it.
You got it. So they're on listening, streaming now, and also
Wow.
If they can get it on the old analog TV, which most of them can't, but I've got a few out there that can, so you're going to get some people. But this is going to be the most interesting thing you've ever heard or seen. And you know, Rob Portman's up for the VP.
Oh, okay.
Virgil Lovett just got nominated by the Hamilton County Republican Party for the 28th Ohio House of Representatives to replace Jim Rousen and his unfilled thing, and he's going to be on the ballot against a United States Air Force Captain, Connie Pillage.
Okay.
Now, I'm giving you a little news, what's already available to the press, but the stuff that you're going to see that I print will blow you away. I'm right mimicking you and Larry.
Well, glad to hear it.
Hey.
I don't know if you want to mimic me or not. That might get you in trouble.
Well, I like trouble.
Well, welcome to the club, because that's where we're headed. Anyway.
Hey, I enjoy your show. I enjoy your informative.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hey, have a good one.
You take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See, Americans are getting involved. They really are. There has been so many things brought to my attention. I wanted to share some of them with you. How much time I got for the next break? I got about 2 minutes. Well, let me do some useless stuff first. You're going to like this. Palo Alto, California, breaking news. Bigfoot lives in northern Georgia and his cousins are still there. At least that's what a pair of Georgian outdoorsmen and California Bigfoot expert/promoter continue to claim. They have definitive evidence to prove that it wasn't presented, but it wasn't presented at a news conference Friday. They said they were to make believers out of everybody. Dozens, mostly skeptical reporters from major newspapers, and I have to agree with them, showed up Friday, lured by the furor of the internet. Since this, the second round of DNA testing on what claimed to be a dead 7-foot, are you ready for this? 7-foot, 7,500-pound Bigfoot. The number's 381-3838 if you want to jump in. They said they would stumbled upon it while hiking in June of North Carolina, North Georgia, is still being complete. They said Friday, 3 samples of the preliminary DNA test came back, inconclusive, of course, and it contained traces of human DNA and 1 trace of possum DNA, probably from something the creature ate, they said. The Bigfoots are known to eat possum or roadkill or anything else. Anyway, they didn't produce the body, and I know why. Damn thing weighs 7,000 pounds. What are you going to do with that? Well, don't ask questions now. Just listen. This is exciting stuff. They soon-to-be business. This goes on into news. The guy's name is Bacardi. He runs an internet radio show and website devoted to Bigfoot under the umbrella of a company called Searching for Bigfoot. Since 2005, Bacardi claims he came across a woman in Nevada who had captured 2 living Bigfoot creatures. He charged about $15 for a visitor to his website to see blurry streaming videos, claimed the show captured the creature. Friday, Bacardi said subsequently has determined that the woman was mentally ill, and he discontinued the business sideline. 7,500. I'll be right back. What are you going to do? 7,500 pounds, 7-foot Bigfoot. Let's go to Ronald. You're on the air, sir. Hello, Ronald.
Hey.
Are you there, sir?
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
I'm watching the show now. I just became a viewer and I find everything you talked about very interesting.
Okay, I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. I guess. I don't know. Let's go to Tom. Tom, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
Hello, Bill.
Hi.
I was living in Deer Park, and I moved to Reading here. Back in early May, late June, I'm the man that told you, now wait a minute before you get upset, that there would be an earthquake in California within 72 days. Not a tremor, but an earthquake. This did happen. Why are you not more interested in people that can tell you future events before they happen?
Why am I not interested in it?
Yeah.
What would make you think that I'm not interested in it? Because I didn't get all excited about it?
Never heard you mention it, that someone predicted a future event.
Oh, okay. Well, slipped my mind. How's that? Sorry. I don't mean to be flippant with you, but I don't have any answer for you. Let's see. Oh, I'm glad you did that, but I don't know what you want me to do.
Well, you know, it shows these Scizones and supernatural things are interesting,
Well,
and
how?
they do exist.
Oh, okay. Is there anything else you'd like to prognosticate at this time?
The knowledge of the holy is understanding, and those that seek the Lord.
I got you.
They
I
gain
appreciate
wisdom.
it. Thank you. And those who do that get cut off. That's just me. I don't want to hear that. I don't have time for it. But thank you. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I didn't get excited about the earthquake. I didn't know I was supposed to. I didn't know I was supposed to get all Twitter-pated because you made a prediction, sir. 72 days. I don't remember you saying anything about 72 days on the original thing, but my mind's very short anyway. Let's go to Brian. Brian, are you there, sir?
Hello?
Brian, do you have any prognostications you'd like to make?
Yeah, I was wondering, why is everyone all about global warming and not about global dimming?
And not about global what?
Global dimming, like the carbon emissions that we put out, it has nothing to do with global warming.
Okay.
I think it filters out most of the sun's rays. That's
Okay.
why you see everything's getting colder and not warmer.
I'm sure you're familiar that the North Pole by May be ice-free for the first time in summer. They made that prediction. It has now been disproven, and this is why the massive melt didn't happen.
Exactly. And like in, 1960, in China, they had a ice glacier in 1960. So, I mean...
I rest my case, but I appreciate your call there, Brian. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I don't know where this is going, but it's headed there. Anyway, the ice didn't melt. Let me get Robin out of here. Robin, you're there. Go ahead.
Yes, good evening, Bill.
Thank you.
Hey, just a real quick observation. Have you noticed there's a full moon tonight?
This is a residue fallout.
I think so.
See, this show gets all the people that didn't get on Bill Cunningham's and all those other talk shows.
Right.
They're
Well,
here.
I thought it was good timing about the Bigfoot notification.
Well,
Everything.
I
They did that right on the full
and
moon.
right up front. They have the skin of this thing, and they had it in a freezer.
I know. It was
Now,
even
hold
on AOL
it,
today.
hold it. How in the hell does two guys pick up 7,500 pounds, carry it back to a freezer, and put it in the freezer?
Well, I'd like to see the freezer that would hold something that big.
Was my next statement. You're getting ahead of me. Robin, you're too quick. You're just too quick.
Thank you, Bill.
I tell you, it's things like that that make my day. You can't know. And please, I've had so many invites to go on Bigfoot hunts. Thank you. No, I'm not going. Let me tell you why. The two brothers who had the gorilla costume to start with from a carnival, who were out in the woods, decided to put it on. He said, you get the camera, I'll run through the woods, we'll take a picture. They admitted it and showed the costume.
Right.
But do you know that people want to believe the myth?
sure they do.
And they go out and they go, I saw one. Dead ass, I mean, dead serious. I saw one.
Of course, I wonder what they were drinking or smoking at the time.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He was standing alongside the road, hitchhiking. Weighed 7,500 pounds. How do you know that particular? We weighed him. We made him get on the scale. Ernest and I did.
All right.
Anyway, I appreciate it, Robin. Thank you for your clarifying.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, Ernest, it's your turn. You are there,
Bill,
sir.
This is Ernest from Japan.
I'm glad he said that. I had to drop him. Thank you. Something more serious of a mind, if you will. And you'll get the drift of this in a minute. You want to go to break? What do we want to do here? I'll tell you what, let's take a pause, Jax. We'll come back. I've got something I want to play for you that ties in. I've got some audio I want you to hear. I went back and dug it out. Stick around. Back in the Scizone, Bill Boshears. I want to go back to Ernie. I think he's back here now. Hello, Ernie. Are you there?
Hey, Bill, this is Ernie from Japan calling. How you doing today?
Ernie, hi. I hear you loud and clear, man. Good to hear your voice.
And likewise, my friend.
Are you, you're watching us on the internet, obviously?
Yeah, of course I am. I've been trying to get onto this show for the longest, and I said, you know what, I'm going to make it a point if I got to continue to speed redial to get into this show today.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's good to hear.
Because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world today, you know, and we're trying to keep track of things. You know what I'm saying?
We do that. We do that.
Yes.
And try to connect some of the dots when we're doing it. Ernie, it is a pleasure to have you. Thank you for being here and being a part of the ever-growing audience of the Scizone. It's a pleasure to have you.
That. Yes, and I'm just trying to wonder how many more dollars we're going to continue to print up, you know, to try to save this country, you know.
Well, we got to give everybody some. I'm for, as you may have heard Larry Nichols talk here earlier, we've got to try to convince the oil companies to give us some of their money. Now, I don't know who's going to do that, and they have been known not to do that in the past. I think that's probably where they're going with it, but it might be something to do that. But I'll tell you what I am going to do. We are going to get some T-shirts, and I'm going to send you one because I think you're one of the furthest away callers that we've ever had, Ernie. And as soon as they get here, I'm going to send you one. What size would you like? Too big?
I would like an extra large.
You got it. Ernie?
Extra large.
You'll get an extra, extra large.
That sounds great, my friend.
Because, you know, when you worship, they get small anyway. But you take care, stay safe, and please stay tuned. And tell your friends about us in Okinawa.
And I will do that, Mr. Brochure.
Oh, just Bill. It's easier that way.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Care.
Have a great evening.
Okay.
What's left of it.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's go to Rob. Rob, you're there, sir.
Hey, Bill, just called to say I watch your show every Saturday night. Make sure there's nothing else going on when it's 11 o'clock. And the question I had for you was, where was that guy 72 days before the Twin Towers fell?
Great question.
Yeah.
Where was he? He was busy moving.
Yep, that's probably it. Don't get discouraged, man. Keep up the good work.
You got it. You're the kind of guys that I know it's worthwhile and it's working out. That's what it's all about. Rob, thank you for calling. Appreciate it.
All right, now.
Have a good one. I want to play you something that happened. This goes back to, and those of you familiar with it will understand what I'm doing. Now listen closely to this. This is an audio stream from
one explosion caused, because here's now what we are starting to learn about the succession, or what someone obviously hoped would be a succession of explosions. The first bomb that was in the federal building did go off. It did the damage that you see right there. The second explosive was found and diffused. The third explosive that was found, and they are working on right now as we speak, I understand, both the second and third explosives, if you can imagine this, were larger than the first. So try to imagine two or threefold happening what we've already seen there. It is just incredible to think that there was that much heavy artillery that was somehow moved into the downtown Oklahoma City Federal Building.
2 other explosive devices were found that were not detonated, and they were larger than the first.
That was from the news footage of Channel 5 in Oklahoma City. Now you see, hindsight's always easier. And we were told that Timothy McVeigh did it all. On my show on WLW several years ago, there was a gentleman by the name of Ben Parton. I believe his name was Ben General. He was a brigadier general. And he came on the show and had a lot of diagrams and stuff that explained why it couldn't have happened. Nobody in the investigation said, well, wait a minute, we got, there's other bombs in there. Where the hell did they come from? Well, we don't know. And it was covered up, blown away, and never investigated. Well, it was investigated. Bill, we looked at it, we had this, we had that, and we couldn't do anything about it, but we're so glad it didn't happen. 381-3838. Move forward with me now. Come to now. Forget about that for a minute, but see if you don't see something kind of awry here. The FBI will present scientific evidence in an anthrax case to counter doubts. You may remember the guy named who hung himself just recently. He was a suspect, and I'm not going to get into describing all the stuff because you can do that. If you will go to rents.com, everything is there. They're having a hell of a time right now convincing me that that guy had anything to do with it from the evidence I've seen. He was somebody who was disgruntled, who supposedly did all the things he did. Well, that doesn't make him the one that did it, but the FBI seems to think that he was. Consequently, we're going to blame it on him, even though he's dead. Well, here's the bad part about that. Just as you might suspect, all of that evidence is now going to be, or has to be, doesn't have to be, but probably will be, released. And it's going to be released on the internet. Now, whether you believe it or disbelieve it, I don't care. You can sit out there and go, I don't believe this guy is crazy. Trust me, you're not the first to say that, and I really don't care if you do. Because if you don't like me, that's all right. It still doesn't stop them, the FBI, and the rest of them, from doing what they do. And until you get off your backside and get busy and start taking a look at stuff by listening to people like Larry Nichols and Mink and other news agencies, other than the alphabet networks, you're not going to be informed. Watching local news is like eating Twinkies and calling that nutritional, valuable stuff. It ain't going to happen. Let me give you, by the way, they identifying the anthrax killer. They identified him as that. The FBI seems convinced that it has finally solved the long-festering case of who mailed the anthrax letters that killed 5 people. Yet, its description of the evidence pointing to a mentally disturbed Army POW expert was the sole culprit leaves us uncertain about whether the investigations have pulled off a brilliant coup after a bumbling start. We are prematurely declaring victory despite the lack of hard, incontrovertible proof. Federal agents rely on sophisticated scientific tests and laboratories investigating with the work that only Bruce Evans, who killed himself last week, I guess it was last week, could have made and mailed to other letters. They say that recently developed tests enable them to identify a telltale genetic mutation in the anthrax and is shown to came from a flask kept by Dr. Evans at the Army Laboratory in Fort Dix, Maryland. First question, why do you even have that stuff? To make weapons out of? To sell to Saddam Hussein, who used some of it, or some gas or something? Get over yourself. Yeah, let me go to a break. I'll come right back. I got more. Don't go away. And you're it. Bill Boshier's back in the Scizone quickly in the remaining moments. I've got a tape I want to play you. First, I want to get Marvin, Ann, and Jenny. Jenny, you're there. Go ahead quickly. Jenny, hello.
Hello.
Yes, you're there. Go ahead,
Hi,
kid.
Bill. How are you?
Doing well, ma'am. Glad to have you aboard.
I'm calling to ask you about the World Trade Center.
Yes, ma'am.
And also about the Pentagon.
Yes, ma'am.
All of those things that they claim that Al-Qaeda did this. I don't believe it.
Not for a minute do I believe
they
it.
have proof from a lot of movie stars have been checking out on this stuff.
Well, the people start, I said, the whole thing you got to do is explain to me how you put a 757 plane into a 16-foot hole in the Pentagon, and I'll believe it. The rest of it is nonsense, and I'm going to, there's too many things going on in the world, and it's just being blown away, covered up, move on. We've got another Katrina, we got this, we got that. Don't worry about it, we'll send FEMA down there. God, we know what a good job they do. Jesus, let's go right over here and get, and now we're going to try to elect a president with nothing. None of them have anything upstairs.
What do you think about all the gold was found down in there?
Well, they tell me, I had a lady call and report it to me, was standing on the street. She called me on a cell phone. Her sister called me. There were 16 trucks hauled the gold away, hauled it out of the Trade Center. So I don't know. All I can tell you is what I was told. But do I believe that it was a put-up job? You bet I do.
I do too, Bill.
Anytime the firemen go back to the firehouse
right.
and say, I heard the cutter charges, boom, boom,
right.
boom, boom.
Well,
I don't believe any kind of Al-Qaeda flew any plane into anywhere.
I know, me either. Neither do I. Well, it's nice talking to you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for being
you
there.
have a good day.
You also. Let's go to Ann. You're there quickly.
Hi, Ann. Hi, Bill. It's Ann. Real quick, you were talking about the anthrax attacks?
Yes.
You're forgetting about the hospital where 14 people were made sick and a couple died, and that is not in the indictment.
Nope. You're
and
right.
I think that's awfully interesting because it was at the same time with the same strain of anthrax.
Well, we could only cover so much, and we didn't want to get it too big, and the hospital didn't want it announced. That's the kind of cover-up we got going on.
Well, it just makes an interesting control if somebody's doing a release on purpose to see what happens.
I think it was a release on purpose. I don't think it had anything to do with Bruce, whatever his name was. I don't think he did it at all. Every one of them that has died, and there's 81 of these biological chemical engineers, these guys they got enough brain to handle it. They are involved in, and he was involved in, an antidote shot or a vaccine for this. And they decided they didn't want it. I rest my case. And I appreciate your call. Thank you for being a student up on the topic. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Let's go to Marvin. You're there, sir.
Hello, sir.
How you doing? Glad to have you aboard.
I'm fine. I agree with everything that's just been said. I just wondered, I'll say real fast, if you're familiar with December 21st of 2012.
Yes, I am.
And the fact that, I don't know if you want me to say anything about religion, but it also mentions in the Bible about wormwood, which is coming. And also, it comes every 3,600 years according to ancient Chinese writings I've been reading.
Yes, yes.
And last time it came, if you subtract from 2012, was Noah's Ark time.
Okay. Would you...
Anyway, but I agree with everything that they just said. And, you think about it. If our government's in debt, with all the BS they've been putting out, for example, that man that supposedly hung himself.
Yeah.
For that isn't that, you know, when I hear that, I get so pissed off I can't listen anymore.
Well, you're doing the right thing. When you get that way, you turn the dial and come here. We'll talk about it. I appreciate your call, Marvin. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your program.
You got it. Thank you. Let me give you the synopsis of this very quickly. And then I'll play you a tape. And I don't know how much time we got, but we'll do the best we can here. This is, the story lacks a lot of preparation and all that. It was left to Bloomberg.com to unearth all the persuasive information that Wall Street firm was seemingly brought down by a conspiracy that netted the participants profits of upward of $250 million of your money, and on the investment of $1.7 million in a week or so. Nice work if you can get it. They got it. The conspirators, whose names have not been made public, pulled off the heist with ease. They bought a bunch of what Wall Street calls puts. Now, don't forget that. A put is a piece of paper guaranteeing its owners the right to sell 100 shares of stock at a stated price within a specified period of time. In case of this bank job, a period of time was less than 5 days from the time they bought it. We'll do a break, come right back. I got more for you. Don't go away. It wasn't until I got to digging, but thank you for being here. By the way, the tape that I was going to show you, I will show you next week. It is very incriminating, and I will show it to you next week. We don't have time. I'm going to call sir, but here's what happened at Bear Stearns that nobody's told you. Bear Stearns stock was selling for over $60 a share. Somebody bought the right to sell more than 6 million shares at $30 a share. To make the money on these puts, as I told you to remember, the price of Bear Stearns would have to lose more than half of its face value. In fact, days immediately after the unknown person or persons bought all of those puts, Bear Stearns stock dropped like a duck shot out of the air. The price to pay was $10 a share or less. The persons behind the scheme then bought Bear Stearns shares for $10 or less and exercised the puts, thereby selling them for $30 and pocketing the difference. How could someone know in a matter of days the fifth largest trading house on Wall Street would see the value of its stock drop next to nothing? Stop right there. Go back with me before 9/11. Somebody did exactly the same thing to United Airlines and American Airlines stock. And the Securities Exchange Commission refuses to give up the name of these people. I'm telling you, with the price of stock at $50, somebody bought the puts and give the right to sell $5 a share, which is about what you would expect for the price to share of the company in a bankruptcy. When you buy a $5 strike put and the stock is trading for over $50, you either have to be manipulating or you have to have insider information. Either way, it's against the law. But nobody wants to look at that. And ladies and gentlemen, millions of people lost everything in that company. Don, you're on the air.
Yeah, good evening, Bill.
Glad to have you, sir.
I got a friend that I served with in the Navy that lives in New Jersey.
Yeah.
That was back in the 60s and early 70s. He became a truck driver. And what he does, he hauls these big steel girders to these other new buildings that are being built in New York, Manhattan, and all them other places.
Right.
He's learned over a quick period of time how they code them per floor as they go up. He helped take away the debris from 9/11, the Twin Towers. He said he noticed a lot of the big main beams, the ones that support the building, were taken and kept in a separate pile somewhere else outside New York, told by security that they were already bought and paid for by some smelting firm. He said the strange thing was you could put a pile there one day, go back, put another pile, it was gone. And it was supposed to be held for at least 30 days for investigation. Never was.
Never was.
Don, I'm telling you. Now, back when we were in Nam together, there was this cord you could wrap around steel. It burns intense and fast. It'll go through steel like butter. He said, I swear if I didn't know better.
You got it.
See where I'm coming from?
You have now given the picture of what happened.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Don. I got to run him up against it. Thank you, sir.
Good evening to you, Bill.
Let's go to Gary. Jerry there.
Yeah, this is Gary from Florence. I just want to update on the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
The story on CNN is 7 foot 7 inches tall and weighs 500 pounds.
Well, they tell me in the report that I got he was 7,000 pounds.
Yeah, and he's they're supposed to present the body pretty soon, so the evidence, so they have the whole body in the fridge.
Yeah, right.
The carcass.
Good luck. I hope they do. If you see it, let me know, will you?
Okay, and another big story that is on the internet you don't hear too much about is they have a giant flotilla of ships in the Gulf Coast right now.
Yep.
And they said it's in case Israel hits Iran, it will keep the Gulf open.
Yeah, right. You better ask Russia about that first.
Yeah.
Anyway, I appreciate the call, Jerry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We've got about a minute left, and to tell you this, we're here every Saturday night. What I will do is save the video that I've got for next week. It's about the impeachments. It's about Pelosi saying, I won't allow impeachment at any price, no matter what they do. Who in the hell's running this country? It's about time you and myself and all the people listening all over the world take this country back. I'm tired of electing people that do nothing, who go out, wave, and kiss babies and do something with no thought. They don't, they work about 4 days a year. They're called senators and congressmen. They do zip. I'll prove it to you. What has your congressman and senator done for you lately, other than help tax your ass? Gas prices through the roof. Oh, and if you think they're not going up, take a look. China is just next week or this week will be over with all of the Olympics. Gas prices will go right back up. Join me next week right here in the Scizone from wherever you are live on the internet, WBQC.com. Be here.